a lot of people are like, you can't fire Kyle.
Right.
You got to give him 2 years with Trey Lance. And that makes sense. Sure. But let me look at it a different way.
Okay.
This is a hypothetical. What if Kyle Shanahan doesn't want to coach Trey Lance? Do you really want to expose Lance to 2 years of that? And think of it. It's been reported that the guy wanted Mac Jones, Kyle. And that basically they went from Mac Jones to Aaron Rodgers at the last minute to Trey Lance at the very, very last minute. So it's been reported his first choice was Mac Jones. Then in the offseason, I mean, he never gave Trey Lance a chance. He decided in July that Lance wasn't ready, never really didn't have an open competition, did not have an open competition. And now, when he did play the one time, he was used as much as a running back as he was as a quarterback, got hurt.
Yeah.
And then recently, there's been leaks from national reporters, specifically Mike Silver, who say things like, guys who aren't in the building, aren't around, didn't watch the training camp, that Trey Lance actually looked good the first week of training camp, but then he regressed and lost confidence, and that's why he's not playing. That's the leak. That's the narrative. So where is that coming from? I don't know. But if you put all those pieces together, do you get the picture of a coach who's really enthusiastic about coaching this kid? Or do you get the picture of a coach who's like, you know what? Never wanted him. I was right. I'm going to prove it right. Because if that's the case, then you got to get Trey Lance away from this guy now. I wouldn't trust Trey Lance to start one more game with this guy at quarterback, with this guy at coach, because I already saw he's going to use Trey Lance, and that's terrifying. It's right. It's actually not right. It's wrong.
I have to agree with that statement. The last one, that the way in which he used him when he came in against the Cardinals was absolutely wrong and painful to watch, quite frankly. I take the other side of it. So let me say, in response to the if scenario, if what you said is true, if that's the feeling for Shanahan, if those things did in fact play out in the way that you suggest, where there is some
never wanted him, don't want him, still don't want him, never gonna want him.
And there is some evidence to support that, although I will point out there's evidence to the contrary as well. So it's a question of what evidence you take and what storyline you build. But if we accept the storyline that you just built for us, which is a plausible one,
I'm not sure I accept it either. I'm just throwing it out there.
It's a possibility. Let's acknowledge that without saying it's a certainty.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then yes, I do think you have to move forward. You cannot have a pairing like that. So we just went through and said, well, Harbalki, you were able to get by with that animosity. With a GM and a head coach, that can work. Head coach and quarterback, I don't think so.
Harbaugh never undercut his quarterback.
No, Smith, not until he benched him, right? When he was starting, he had his back 1,000%.
And then he had Colin Kaepernick's back 1,000%.
That's right. That's right.
And Kyle never has any quarterbacks back 1,000%, just like John Gruden never did. And those guys to me are very similar because Gruden had personnel power in Oakland too. Anyway, look, what I would like to see from Kyle is I would like to see him show that he wants to coach Trey.
Yes.
You said that there's been signs and evidence that maybe he does. I'd like to know what those are because I haven't seen one in a long time.
Yeah, that is a fair statement and a fair question, a fair ask.
There was a story from Lynch that he was drawing up plays. I didn't see that. Right.
And to me, it goes back to what type of individual is Kyle Shanahan and what would he allow to happen in his building? Because to me, that's the basic premise. This is Kyle's building. I think above all else, if it comes down to where does the buck stop, the buck stops with Kyle. I would imagine in meetings with Jed that Kyle's voice has the heaviest weight. Right. So I'm not saying he couldn't be forced to draft somebody. I just don't think it's likely that he would draft someone he doesn't want at quarterback. I think it's unlikely Lynch would force someone on Kyle. So to me, that feels like a stretch, but I have to admit it's a possibility. And the only way to disprove it is for what you're asking for, is to get Shanahan to actually show me the money.
Yeah, I mean, it seems weird that Kyle Shanahan would allow himself to get overruled on a quarterback, but that's what's been reported.
Right.
So I would like to see something. The next time that he's in there, show us some play act. Show us that you're confident in Trey Lance, that he can run your offense. Because we thought you drafted him because you thought he could run your offense, as opposed to Justin Fields, who's killing it.
Right.
Well, as opposed to him. So just show us some enthusiasm. Because what I'm afraid of is they'll keep playing Jimmy until they're finally knocked out of the playoff race.
Right.
Or here's one of two things. Jimmy will take him to the playoffs, and Trey won't play this year, and Jimmy will start again next year, and Kyle will say, Trey's not ready. That's one. That's one. Or two, they finally get eliminated. Trey starts, and he goes back to playing like a running back, and he gets hurt again, and then he's set back for next year. Those are the two things that I'm concerned about. And
both could lose him the fan base. Both of those courses of action would be highly upsetting to a large majority of 49ers fans.
Well, Kyle's been, really upsetting a large majority of 49er fans all year.
Yes,
all year. And his response is basically like, leave me alone. When you see me at Safeway, don't talk to me. When I'm
don't
at
bother me.
My soccer game.
At my soccer games.
Yeah, like that's his attitude. Like, I got this. All right, man. I guess you have the same record winning percentage as Chip Kelly, so please show us.
Oof, goodness gracious.
So I don't know. Is he the right coach for Trey Lance? Show us, please, now.
Yeah, I'd like some optimism going into 2022.